Here I have the Nikon 85mm f1.8G lens. It is one of several 85mm prime lenses available from Nikon. This is not the version with the widest available aperture. That's the f1.4 version, but it's the lightest in March of 2013, and it's also the least expensive. There's a manual focus version available and the AFD version, which has an aperture ring while lacking a focus motor in the lens. Why did I choose this version? It's inexpensive and a good performer. I know the hardcore folks are going to say to go for the more expensive f1.4 version for the wider aperture. I'm sure it's a great lens, but I've been using the 50mm f1.8 for a long time, and for portraits on my FX D800, I've been using actually the 70-200 f2.8, and I haven't felt lacking. Why not use this 70-200 for portraits all the time? Well, the first reason is that I'm really enjoying using primes on my D800. And second, this 70-200 is heavy and cumbersome in the studio. My goal is usually to get the camera out of the way when I'm working and to focus on the subject and the final product. I don't know about you, but I find that working with this 70-200 for portraits is a little bit distracting. Let's talk about some of the things that I know many of you will care about while I'm evaluating this lens. Things like sharpness, speed, and handling, and the appearance of the out-of-focus areas. First, let's talk about the form factor. Like many sub-telephoto primes, it's light and relatively small and easy to handle. It balances very well with my D800, and even on a lighter body like this D600. Are you shooting DX? It works great on my D300S, and even this older D80. Don't forget the crop factor when you're working with DX with this lens. The field of view on DX gets into mild telephoto territory at 127mm equivalent. On a Nikon 1CX mount camera, you have an f1.8 lens with a 230mm equivalent field of view. It may look a little funny here on the V1, but it delivers telephoto capability using the sweet spot of the lens at very favorable apertures. Speed and handling is very important to me. I want fast focus and the ability to move my camera around quickly, either in the studio or out in the field. Focusing is quick and quiet on this lens. The wide aperture means that the light is hitting the mirror and the focusing system. Your camera likes this and will act more responsively. This is a prime lens, and there's no zoom to think about. The focus ring, if you choose to use it, is easy to grip and it works well. Like I do with all of my new lenses and equipment, I celebrated the arrival of this lens with a photo shoot in the studio. No model? No problem. I did a self-portrait shoot, and here are a few of the photos. I'm pleased with the sharp, crisp results. The focal length feels right for a wider or a tight headshot. Just let your legs do the zooming and frame the image how you like it. Unless you have a lot of room to work with, you might not be able to coax full body shots out of this lens though. For my height, I needed 17 feet from me to the camera to get my entire body into the frame. And that's shooting vertically. If I'm shooting horizontally or cropping for 8x10, I would need even more room than that. Now let's take it outdoors. Backgrounds are beautiful and smooth. Of course, the environment you're shooting in will be a huge factor. Also, as with any lens and aperture setting, the further your background is from your subject, the smoother it will be. Even on the Nikon V1 with its small sensor, I can use this lens to get great portraits. Interested in more photos with this lens and a complete rundown of the photo shoot? Head over to snapchick.com for details with documentary footage and a complete gallery for my VIP members. For me, the good or bad isn't summed up by one feature or characteristic. It's the sum of the parts and the flow that I can achieve while I'm using the equipment. I can say with the 85mm, I'm able to work how I like and get the results that I expect. What could be better?